James Dean stands on a Burbank Street corner on November 1st, 1954, watching the woman he loves walk into a church. Not his church, not their church, a Catholic church where she's about to marry someone else, someone her mother approves of, someone who fits, someone who isn't him. He's sitting on his motorcycle, engine running, hands gripping the handlebars so tight his knuckles are white. He can hear the organ music starting inside, can picture her walking down the aisle, walking toward a future that doesn't include him. And when the ceremony ends and she walks out married to another man, what Dean does next doesn't just break his own heart. It shatters something in him that will never heal. 334 days later, he'll be dead on Highway 466. And 16 years after that, she'll take her own life. Two people who loved each other completely, but were never allowed to be together. This is the story of how Hollywood's most rebellious actor met the only woman who could have saved him, and how her mother's decision to forbid their marriage set in motion two tragedies that would haunt everyone who knew them. Hollywood, California, June 1954. A Tuesday afternoon. Warner Brothers studio lot, Stage 7. The set for a movie that won't matter to anyone except for one thing that happens during filming. The stage is massive, industrial, all concrete and steel beams and electrical cables running everywhere. The lighting rigs hang from the ceiling like mechanical spiders. Hot lights, the kind that make everyone sweat, the kind that expose everything, no hiding under these lights. The crew is setting up for the next scene. Grips moving equipment, electricians adjusting angles, script supervisors checking continuity. The normal chaos of a film production, everyone focused on their specific task, no one paying attention to who's watching from the edges. James Dean sits in a canvas director's chair off to the side. Not his chair. He's not directing, just sitting, waiting for his call time. He's 23 years old. Already done East of Eden, already being talked about as the next big thing, but not famous yet, not the icon he'll become. Just a promising young actor with intensity that makes people uncomfortable. He's wearing jeans, white t-shirt. That's his uniform now. Nothing fancy, nothing Hollywood, just real clothes for real life. His hair is messy, hasn't been styled yet. Dark, falling across his forehead. He's smoking a cigarette, watching the crew work, studying everything. That's what he does. Studies, absorbs, files away details for later use. Method acting isn't just about emotions. It's about truth, about seeing what's really happening instead of what people pretend is happening. Then she walks onto the set, and everything stops. Not literally. The crew keeps working. The lights stay hot. The cameras stay where they are. But for Dean, everything stops. She's young, 19 years old, Italian, Anna Maria Pier Angeli, goes by Pier Angeli professionally. American audiences can't pronounce her real name, can't handle that much Italian authenticity. So they shortened it, made it easier, made it fit. She's beautiful in a way that doesn't need explanation. Dark hair, dark eyes, delicate features but not fragile. There's strength in her face, intelligence. She's wearing a simple dress, nothing elaborate. The wardrobe department hasn't gotten to her yet. She's holding a script, reading it while she walks, not looking where she's going, trusting that people will move out of her way. They do. Dean watches her, doesn't look away, doesn't pretend he's not staring, just watches with that intensity that makes people nervous. She feels it. That's the thing about being watched that intensely. You feel it. She looks up from her script, finds him immediately. Their eyes meet, hold. Neither looks away. This isn't flirting. This is recognition. Two people seeing something in each other that matters. That's real. That cuts through all the Hollywood artifice and gets to something true. She walks over, direct, no games, no pretense, stands in front of his chair. You're James Dean. You're Pier Angeli. Are you always this intense? Are you always this direct? She smiles, small, real, when I see something worth being direct about. What do you see? Someone who's as tired of pretending as I am. That's how it starts, not with romance, not with seduction, with recognition. Two people tired of performing, tired of being what Hollywood wants them to be. Finding someone who might understand. They start talking about acting, about the pressure to be perfect, about families who don't understand, about feeling like they don't belong anywhere. Pier tells him about her mother, Pier Angeli, traditional Italian, Catholic, strict, controlling, every decision filtered through what's proper, what's acceptable to God and the church and Italian society. Dean tells her about growing up in Indiana, about his mother dying when he was 9, about being raised by an aunt and uncle who meant well but didn't understand him, about coming to Hollywood to find something, still not sure what. The conversation flows like water, easy, natural, no effort required, just two people talking truth to each other. When the assistant director calls Pier to set, she doesn't want to go, wants to keep talking, keep this connection alive. "Can I see you again?" she asks. "Tonight," Dean says. Not a question, a statement. "My mother won't allow it." "Then don't tell her." Their first date is at Googie's coffee shop on Sunset Boulevard. Late night, after Pier's mother thinks she's asleep. She sneaks out her bedroom window, takes a cab, meets Dean at midnight. He's waiting in a booth in the back, 2 cups of coffee already on the table. Black, strong. She slides in across from him, breathless from sneaking out, excited, scared, alive. "I've never done this before," she says. "Snuck out? Disobeyed my mother. How does it feel?" Terrifying and perfect. They talk until 4 in the morning. About everything. About nothing. About dreams and fears and the weight of expectations. About being young in a city that wants to consume you. About finding something real in a place built on illusion. When Dean drives her home on his motorcycle, she wraps her arms around his waist, holds tight. This is the first time she's ever been on a motorcycle. First time she's ever felt this free, this dangerous, this alive. He stops a block from her house, lets her walk the rest of the way, watches to make sure she gets inside safely, then rides away into the pre-dawn darkness, knowing something just started, something important, something that's going to hurt. Over the next 3 months, they fall in love. Real love, not movie love, not Hollywood romance. Real, complicated, messy, necessary love. They meet in secret. Coffee shops, parks. His apartment when her mother thinks she's at acting class. They talk for hours. She tells him about growing up in Italy during the war, about hunger, about fear, about her family immigrating to America for opportunity, for safety, for a better life. He tells her about feeling different, about not fitting, about the rage inside him that comes out in his acting, about being terrified he's going to waste his life on things that don't matter. They understand each other. That's the crucial thing. Not attraction, not chemistry. Understanding. She sees his vulnerability and doesn't try to fix it. He sees her strength and doesn't try to diminish it. They're real with each other. No performance, no mask, just truth. But they can't hide forever. In September 1954, Pier's mother, discovers the relationship. A neighbor sees Pier getting off Dean's motorcycle, tells everything explodes. Confronts Pier in their Beverly Hills home, the house that Hollywood money bought, the American dream made real. But inside, it's still Italy, still tradition, still the old ways. "You've been seeing that boy." Not a question, an accusation. Pier doesn't deny it, can't lie, wasn't raised to lie. "His name is James." "I know his name. I know what he is. Protestant, American, no family, no respect, no future." He's an actor, a good one. He's nothing. You will stop seeing him immediately. Mama, I love him. The words hang in the air, heavy, dangerous. Everything changes when you say those words out loud. Make them real. Give them power. Ermaclina's face hardens. You will not see him again. I forbid it. I'm 19 years old. You can't forbid me. You live in my house. You eat my food. You obey my rules. Or you leave. Choose. Pier chooses her mother. That's the tragedy. That's what breaks everything. She chooses family over love, duty over desire, the acceptable path over the true path. She calls Dean, crying, says they can't see each other anymore. Her mother won't allow it. Dean's response is quiet, controlled, dangerous. Tell me you don't love me, and I'll walk away. I can't tell you that. Then fight for this, fight for us. You don't understand. My family, my faith, everything I am. I understand you're choosing them over me. That's not fair. No, it's not, but it's true. They meet one last time. October 1954, late at night, the beach in Santa Monica. Empty, cold, Pacific wind blowing hard. Pier is wrapped in a coat, shivering. Dean stands in just his jacket. Doesn't seem to feel the cold. Too angry, too hurt, too lost. My mother is arranging meetings with appropriate men, Pier says. Catholic men? Italian men? Men she approves of. Do you love me? You know I do? Then none of that other stuff matters. It all matters. You don't understand because you don't have this. Family, faith, tradition, structure. You're free. I'm not. You could be. You're choosing not to be. The truth of that statement sits between them. Undeniable. Pier is choosing, not because she doesn't love Dean, but because she can't bear to lose her mother, can't bear to be cut off from her family, can't bear to be alone in America without the anchor of tradition. Dean understands and doesn't understand, understands the fear, doesn't understand the choice. His mother died when he was 9. He knows what it's like to lose family, but he also knows what it's like to be alone, to have no choice but to be free. Pier has a choice, and she's choosing wrong. If you marry one of these men your mother picks, Dean says, voice flat, I won't be there, won't watch you throw away what we have, won't pretend I'm happy for you. I'm not asking you to. What are you asking? To understand. I understand. I understand you're killing this because you're too scared to choose it. He walks away, doesn't look back, gets on his motorcycle, rides into the night, fast, too fast, reckless, not caring if he crashes, maybe hoping he will. Pier stands on the beach alone, watching the waves, crying, making the choice she'll regret for the rest of her life. 3 weeks later, Ermaclina introduces Pier to Vic Damone, singer, Italian-American, Catholic, handsome, successful, safe. Everything Dean isn't. Everything a good Italian mother wants for her daughter. Vic is charming, respectful. He courts Pier properly, takes her to nice restaurants, meets her family, goes to church with them, says all the right things, does all the right things. He's perfect on paper, completely wrong in reality. Pier tries to feel for Vic what she feels for Dean, tries to convince herself that safety and approval matter more than passion and truth, tries to be the daughter her mother wants, the good Catholic girl who makes the right choices. But at night, alone in her room, she thinks about Dean, about his hands, about his eyes, about the way he saw through all her defenses to the real person underneath, about feeling alive instead of safe, about truth instead of pretense. But she made her choice, and Vic Damone is the price of keeping her mother's love. November 1st, 1954, less than 2 months after Pier told Dean they couldn't be together. The wedding is at Our Lady of the Assumption Catholic Church in Burbank. Big ceremony, traditional, everything proper, everything approved. Ermaclina is radiant, Her daughter is marrying well, marrying right, marrying someone who fits into the world she understands. The church is full. Family, friends, Hollywood people who came for the spectacle, everyone dressed perfectly, everything choreographed, nothing left to chance. Pier stands in the bride's room, white dress, veil, looking like every Italian mother's dream. Her twin sister Marisa helps with the veil, sees Pier's face, sees the truth under the makeup. "You don't have to do this," Marisa whispers. "Yes, I do." "You love him, James. Everyone knows it." "Love isn't enough." "When did you start believing that?" Pier doesn't answer, can't answer, because she doesn't believe it, never believed it. But she's doing it anyway, choosing duty, choosing approval, choosing safety, choosing wrong. Outside the church, a motorcycle engine rumbles, low, constant, menacing. Dean is there, sitting on his Triumph, black leather jacket, jeans, no tie, no suit, no pretense of being appropriate. Just sitting there, engine running, watching the church entrance. He's been there for an hour, waiting, hoping. Some part of him still believes she'll walk out, call it off. Choose him, choose them, choose truth over duty. But the ceremony starts. The organ plays. Through the stained glass windows, Dean can hear the priest, can hear the vows being spoken, can hear Pier saying yes to a life that doesn't include him, can hear her killing what they had, what they could have been. His hands tighten on the handlebars, knuckles white, jaw clenched, tears running down his face. He's not ashamed, doesn't wipe them away, just sits there crying, grieving, watching the church like it's a tomb, watching the woman he loves bury herself alive in a marriage that will make everyone happy except her. When the ceremony ends, when the doors open and Pier walks out married to Vic Damone, Dean sees her. She sees him. Their eyes meet across the distance, across the divide between the church steps and the street, across the impossible gap between the choice she made and the choice he wanted her to make. She looks beautiful, looks miserable, looks like someone attending their own funeral. Dean doesn't move, doesn't approach, just looks at her. One last time, memorizing her face, her eyes, the truth in her expression that everyone else is too busy celebrating to see. Then he twists the throttle. The engine roars, and he rides away, fast, reckless, dangerous, down Burbank streets at speeds that should kill him, running red lights, taking corners too hard, not caring, not about safety, not about consequences, not about anything except making the pain stop, making the image of Pier in a white dress walking toward the wrong future stop replaying in his head. He rides for hours, through Los Angeles, into the hills, along the coast, pushing the motorcycle to its limits, pushing himself to his limits, hoping maybe if he goes fast enough, the hurt will get left behind. It doesn't. Pier's marriage to Vic Damone is a disaster from the start. No passion, no connection, no truth. Just two people playing roles. The devoted Catholic wife, the successful Italian husband. Ermaclina is happy. That's what matters to Pier. Her mother's happiness, her mother's approval, her mother's love. But at night, alone in bed next to a man she doesn't love, Pier thinks about Dean, wonders where he is, what he's doing, if he's thinking about her, if he hates her, if he's moved on. She reads about him in the trades, sees his career taking off, rebel without a cause, giant, becoming a star, becoming everything he was meant to be. And she's stuck, playing house, playing happy, playing a role more convincing than anything she's done on screen. September 30th, 1955, 10 months after her wedding. Dean dies. Highway 466, his Porsche colliding with another car at high speed. The news reaches Pier while she's at home. Vic tells her, "Casual, the way you'd mention any celebrity death. Another Hollywood tragedy. Another young star gone too soon. Sad, but not personal." Except it is personal. It's everything personal. Pier locks herself in the bathroom, runs water so Vic can't hear her sobbing, collapses on the floor, can't breathe, can't think, can't process that Dean is gone, that the man she loved, the man she chose not to be with, the man she condemned to face the world alone, is dead. 24 years old. Dead on a highway, driving too fast, living too hard. Burning out because burning out was better than burning slow in a world that wanted to tame him. And Pier knows deep in her soul that if she'd chosen him, if she'd married him, if she'd given him something worth living for instead of something worth dying from, he might still be alive. That knowledge will haunt her for the next 16 years. She goes to his funeral, sits in the back, wears black, wears a veil. Vic doesn't understand why she's so upset. "You barely knew him," he says. She doesn't correct him, doesn't explain, just sits in the back of the funeral and watches them bury the man who understood her, the man she loved, the man she killed by choosing duty over truth. Her marriage to Vic falls apart by 1958. 3 years of pretending. 3 years of playing the good Catholic wife. 3 years of dying inside. They divorce. Irma Klina is devastated. Divorce isn't acceptable, isn't Catholic, isn't done. But Pier can't keep pretending, can't keep living a lie, can't keep honoring a choice that destroyed her and killed Dean. She remarries in 1962. Armando Trovajoli, Italian composer. Another attempt to make her mother happy. Another Catholic. Another Italian. Another safe choice. Another mistake. She has a son. Tries to build a life. Tries to forget. Tries to move forward. But Dean's ghost follows her. In every movie she makes. In every interview she gives. People ask about him, about working with him, about knowing him. She gives the same sanitized answers. He was talented, intense, a good friend. Never the truth. Never, "I loved him, and choosing not to be with him destroyed both of us." Never that truth. Too dangerous. Too raw. Too real. By the late 1960s, Pier is struggling, career fading, second marriage failing, carrying the weight of Dean's death like a stone around her neck. She starts drinking, taking pills, barbiturates to sleep, amphetamines to wake up, the Hollywood spiral, the slow suicide that looks like lifestyle. September 1971, 16 years after Dean died. Pier takes an overdose of barbiturates. The official story is accidental. Mixed pills with alcohol. Didn't realize how much she was taking, but people who knew her know better. Know she couldn't carry it anymore. The guilt, the regret, the knowledge that she chose wrong, that she had love. Real love, true love. And she killed it to make her mother happy. And her mother is still alive, still Catholic, still traditional, still believing she made the right choice for her daughter, never understanding that her choice killed 2 people. Dean fast, Pier slow, but both dead from the same wound. At Pier's funeral, her son places a photograph in her casket, a photograph of James Dean, young, intense, beautiful, the way she remembered him, the way he was before the crash, before death, before everything went wrong. Her tombstone in Ruland Cemetery later includes an engraving, not of Vic Damone, not of her second husband, of James Dean. Because even in death, even after 16 years of trying to forget, trying to move on, trying to honor the choice she made, the truth remained. She loved him, always loved him, only loved him. Everything else was performance. Everything else was pretense. Everything else was the lie she lived because she couldn't bear to live the truth. The story of James Dean and Pier Angeli is a story about the cost of choosing safety over truth, about the price of making other people happy when it means betraying yourself, about how love, real love, doesn't die just because you refuse to honor it. It just burns hotter, turns into something toxic, something that destroys you from the inside. Dean died fast, Pier died slow. But they both died from the same thing, from love that wasn't allowed to exist, from a choice made not out of truth, but out of fear, from the impossible weight of trying to be who your family wants you to be when it means killing who you actually are. Pier Angeli lived into her 80s, outlived her daughter by decades, never expressed regret for forbidding the marriage, never acknowledged that her decision killed 2 people, never understood that love, real love, is worth any cost, worth any sacrifice, worth losing anything for, because without it, you lose everything anyway, just slower, just more painfully, just with more regret. There's a photograph that exists. Taken in June 1954, Dean and Pier on the Warner Brothers lot. Between takes. He's making her laugh, really laugh, head thrown back, joy in her eyes. Real joy. Not performed, not pretended, real. You can see it in her face, in his. The connection, the recognition, the truth of what they had. The photograph is evidence, proof that it was real, that it mattered, that it could have been something beautiful, something lasting, something worth fighting for. But instead, it became evidence of what was lost, what was destroyed, what could have been saved if someone had just been brave enough to choose truth over approval. Choose love over duty. Choose life over death. Who in your life are you trying to make happy at the cost of your own truth? What choice are you making out of fear instead of love? What real connection are you killing because it doesn't fit into someone else's idea of what your life should be? Because this is the lesson Dean and Pier teach us. Not that love conquers all. It doesn't. Love loses all the time. Loses to fear. Loses to duty. Loses to family pressure and religious doctrine and social expectation. Love loses constantly. But when it loses, when you choose against it, you lose something too, something essential, something that can't be replaced. Dean lost his life at 24. Pier lost hers at 39, both killed by the same choice. The choice to honor fear instead of love. The choice to make other people happy instead of being true. The choice that looks safe but kills you anyway. Just slower, just more painfully, just with more regret. The motorcycle still running outside the church, the wedding happening inside. The 2 people who loved each other separated by fear and tradition and a mother's control. That's the image that defines them. Dean outside, free but broken. Pier inside, safe but dying. Neither one getting what they needed, neither one choosing the only thing that mattered. And 16 years later, a photograph placed in a casket. Evidence that even in death, the truth remains. She loved him. He loved her. Everything else was performance. Everything else was pretense. Everything else was the lie that killed them both. That's the real tragedy. Not that they died, but that they died having never really lived, having chosen duty over truth, safety over love, approval over authenticity. And in choosing that, they lost everything that made life worth living. Dean knew it, rode into the night too fast, too reckless, too ready to end the pain. Pier knew it, took the pills, drank the alcohol, chose the slow exit, both of them knowing, both of them carrying the weight of the choice that destroyed them, both of them gone now, together in death the way they never got to be in life. The story of James Dean and Pier Angeli. The love that could have been, the choice that killed it, the tragedy that no one could stop, not because it was inevitable, but because someone chose fear over love. And fear always wins when you let it. Always.